did here in Australia. But Sir Keir Starmer says, no, we're going to look into this digital ID because apparently there are too many of these illegal migrants going for jobs and it's impossible to tell whether they are illegal migrants or not. So you must have a digital ID which, according to the Times of London, would allow you to prove eligibility to work. It would allow you to pay bills. It would allow you to vote online. It would allow you to sign contracts, allow you to shop. I mean, are we talking about you're going to need a digital ID to go into a shop now and to access health information? This is a one-stop shop for the government to have total oversight and total control of everything you do in your life, and they're going to try and get it passed by saying, well, we need it to combat illegal migrants.
Surely that is just an excuse.
I think it's just a way for policymakers to consolidate data on the general population and consolidate and centralise data to make it easier for them to create new policy. And I think ultimately it undermines our civil rights. And I think everybody who's watching politics live right now, I think they should really consider the detrimental impacts that ID cards could have on their freedom.
Then that is a potentially big and useful thing, ostensibly to tackle crime, but it begs the question about our civil liberties, and I think that is a very, very big question.
Yeah, and it's also a valid question as well. And you know, we know in terms of, you know, it's okay. All right, we might have a bit of an iffy government at the moment. I don't think they're, you know, intent on. Well, I was about to say putting us in prison for hurty words. Maybe they are intent on that, but I don't think, you know, I don't think their intention is a nefarious one. I think it's a rather simplistic sort of maybe slightly left-wing one, although I'm pretty sure the Tories would be having the same debate on this at the moment. But of course, when you're legislating, you're thinking about policies that come in this respect, Charles, it's what a future government might do with it, and that, I suppose, is a reasonable reasonable tentacle for debate.
Yes, clearly. I mean, we don't want to be in a situation. I mean, if you look at the way in which the Chinese operate with surveillance of virtually the entire population in one way or another, virtually to the point, as you joked earlier, about walking out of a room and having a chip in your hand, it's not far from that in China, I think. And so therefore, you know, it is a slippery slope. And
yeah, it's another example of government overreach. I think there's a number of problems here. First of all, how is this going to solve the problem? You know, it seems to me, again, it's a bit of deflection from Starmer and the government to say, okay, we've got a problem, there's the reaction, and this is our solution under the auspice of safety and convenience. The words and mantras of most authoritarian governments in history. You know, we've seen this playbook before. When you go, we've talked about this even in COVID. There has actually been a form of digital ID, universal digital ID before, when we move towards vaccine passports. So we have gone through this drill before, but there's other aspects that are a problem with this. And I think a conversation that needs to be had when we're talking about digital ID is about what exactly is the social contract between government and also the public. They're supposed to be working for us. You know, we pay their wages. And this sort of thing, it seems to me, another example of government overreach, whereby they are deciding measures that weren't in their manifesto that have profound implications in the future in terms of not just our privacy, civil liberties, but also where does the data, in whatever form it goes, where does it end up? Do we end up with data harvesting? Do we have privacy of information?
First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rukah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, the Royal, and a sincere salutation to you, Akim, and you, Aquat, that believe in all sincerity. As you see here on your screen, it says the B system is being rolled out worldwide. This video you can see on YouTube by Jason A. All right, and so you heard the three individuals speak. All right, the first guy was speaking about the digital ID would prove eligibility to work. All right, you'll be able to pay bills, vote online, sign contracts, shop, and access all your health information, which, you know, this is commonly, you know, this is public knowledge. Okay, we know that the digital ID / MOTB is going to be able to do all this. But he said that the government will have total control and they'll use the excuse that they're fighting illegal immigration. So there's no wonder why they're pushing so much on illegal immigration. Okay. The second guy, he mentioned how the Chinese and how they've been surveillancing everybody in their country in one way, shape, or form or the other. And so there's questions about our civil liberties, whether or not they're going to be infringed upon, which they are. All right, this digital ID being pushed is definitely going to be a form of tyranny, a form of seizing your rights. Okay. And the third guy, he spoke about that we've seen this already, with the vaccine passports, and having to get, the jump shot and having that documented, also with the whole, mandatory jump shot. All right. Or you couldn't work. All that right there was like a test run. Okay. For the MOTB. So these devils are pretty much, starting to implement this, okay, into the mainstream media to get people desensitized into taking it, all right, which we know that it's the MOTB, all right. So I want to get a couple scriptures that are willing to edify. This is Psalms 141 and 9. It says, keep me from the snares which they have laid for me, and the gins of the workers of iniquity. All right. And these people that are in so-called power are the workers of iniquity, because that's what they're doing. They're working a work, okay, that is ultimately for the left-hand side. Okay. They're snares, and they're laying them for mainly you Jakes, okay, because they're the accuser of the brethren. They want to basically accuse the Israelites to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai in these latter days. It says, let the wicked fall into their own nets, whilst the eye withal escape. Okay. Let's see. That was a scripture. Transgressor. Sirs. If I don't find it, I'm going to move on. Trans. Let's see. See if I can find it real quick. Proverbs 26. Was it Proverbs 26? Yeah. Let's get Proverbs real quick. 26. Let's see. No. Salak. There was a scripture that I was looking at earlier. Okay, so as we read here, Psalms 141 and 9, let the wicked fall into their own nets, whilst the eye withal escape. And ultimately, their sinning, okay, is really like a net for them. Okay. Now we know the white man can't sin, but still, he's transgressing against, the Israelites, by setting up these jinns, these traps. All right. Psalms 140 and 5. The proud have hid a snare for me and cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set jinns for me. Selah. Okay. They're the proud. Okay. The wicked. The pride of thy heart hath deceived them, though that dwelleth in the clefts of the rock. They're speaking about who? These Edomites. It says, the proud have hid a snare for me and cords. They have spread a net by the way, so they have set jinns for me. Okay. Now, when you look at this in the NLT, it says something interesting. It says, the arrogant have hidden a snare for me. They have spread out the cords of their net and have set traps for me along my path. Now, as we mentioned, all right, they've already, with the MOTB, the whole scamdemic, okay, have built a narrative to deceive the people to go ahead and take, all right, the jump shot because, you know, they were going to die, you see? So along the way, they have already begun to spread the net, by the way. So they have already set the traps, you see? They have spread a net, by the way, so they have said jins for me, say law. It's, you know, the whole scamdemic was a trial run, okay, for ultimately implementing this MOTB. And they're using it under the guise of fighting illegal immigration, all right? Psalms 38 and 12. They also that seek after my life lay snares for me, and they that seek my hurt speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. Okay? They speak mischievous things and imagine deceits all the day long. Right, because the scriptures speak about, you know, they speak lofty concerning oppression. Okay? Psalm 73 and 8, they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily, and that's wicked. All right? To put a chip, okay, in your hand, or to give you a digital ID, because they're going to do either or. Okay, you know, the scriptures speak about he that receiveth the number of the beast. Okay, which we know is that that barcode, that number that every single product has. Because, you know, they look at you like you know, property. You know, you're a beast of burden that has to be branded. Okay. And you know, they want to be like the Most High. They have a God complex, and they want to brand, you know, and subjugate every man, woman, child, and give them the MOTB. And we speak about this, man. We constantly speak about this, you know, starting with our apostles and elders. This is Revelation 13 and 16. He calls us all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. You see? And, you know, there's been talks about them giving it to prisoners to shorten or release them from prison. You know, they've been talking about well, obviously the illegal immigrants, quote unquote. You know, you come back into the country, just get this chip, get the C-hip. You know, that's that free and bond. All right, to receive a marcus in their right hand or in their foreheads, because ultimately they're gonna put it in your forehead. You know, they're gonna scan you like they scan food at the local Walmart. This is facts. All right, for all those camps out there that saying that that's not true, it is true, very true. This is that no man might buy or sell save he that had the marcus or the name of the beast or the number of his name. You see? So you have to somehow bow down and take the marcus, the name, or the number. All right, and that's ID card. That's that C-hip. All right, that's you know, all the different forms of that number that they're going to be able, that people are going to get. They could be tattoos, all that. Here's wisdom: let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and it is 6, and his number is 636. Okay, and then we know that the barcode in the front, the middle, and the end have are equal to 6s. All right. That's what it's speaking about, you know. And if you have that, you know, that universal barcode, you scan it, it beeps. All right. So, you know, I just wanted to bring this out. Lord willing, this was edifying. You can look this up on YouTube. Again, Lord willing, you were edified. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Ruach Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and a sincere salutation to you, Akim, and you Aquat that believe in all sincerity. Shalom.